RPS Solar Pumps is in South Carolina today. We're with Jared from Southern Homesteads. Hi, Jared.
Hey.
Jared makes awesome mini cabins, off-grid cabins. They're all handmade by him and his team, but he also has a ton of solar pumps on his property that he has been installing over the past 4 years. He's got about 4 of them that are feeding his home, his animals, his homestead.
Yeah, so we're an 85-acre farm up here in the mountains in South Carolina, and there's actually 3 families that live here. We got 4 houses and 3 families, all of which are relatives. And so we've got a homestead with horses and cows and sheep and chickens and rabbits and kind of the run-of-mill of all things. From a water perspective, we have everything from conventional drilled wells to wells we don't know anything about to a hand-drilled well that we actually drilled, all of which are running just off of solar. So kind of a mixed bag of things there.
And this well right here is actually feeding your house and then all these animals. Let's just walk down here and take a look quickly at all the chickens that you've got and your cows and your horses. You've got dogs, and then even further on, you've got sheep out there.
Yeah, and so one of the things you'll notice here as you look around, you'll have to excuse some of the mess. There's still some remnants of the hurricane that came through here. So we actually didn't build a playhouse that looks like it's laying down. That was where we are standing right now was actually 100% underwater. Matter of fact, this would have been close to over my head.
Okay, so let's walk up to the solar pump. So this is what RPS solar pump model?
So this is RPS 800. On all the houses we have the RPS 800s, and then we have one RPS 200 that we feed livestock with. So this feeds my personal home, and this feeds all of our livestock on this side. This was, as we would say, this is our OG RPS system. When we were originally looking at this had a jet pump on it. There's no tag on the well. We didn't know anything about the well system other than it wasn't set up correctly, but we had water. So we decided that I'm pretty big about, before we tell clients that they should try something, that we buy it and try it, and I'm comfortable with it. So we decided that we were going to buy one of the RPS systems. I think we're 4.5 years deep on this system, and been great.
So you decided to mount it on a roof. Tell me a little bit about that decision.
So, and I will say this, for all of ours are roof mount, especially with farm animals. I like to get them out of the way. Ground mounts, they're convenient in some stuff, but for us, ground mounts mean chickens are gonna get on them. Ground mounts mean we need to worry about, we don't have goats, but if we did, that they're gonna climb on them. Ground mounts mean that I have to worry about my kids getting on top of them. And so for us, just a well house, getting them up and out of the way, it serves our purpose better. That's kind of the way we do all of them around here. This is, you see, we've never washed those panels. We live in an area that we get over 100 inches of rain a year. Panels being scrubbed clean by rain, it's just not an issue. Couple things on this. I went through the trouble of building a racking system that could adjust. I couldn't find anything online, at least at a price point that I was willing to spend to actually do it. So I built this out of electrical struts, stuff that you'd get from Home Depot. And it's been great, it's been fine. I built it so that we could adjust it. They're set at 32 degrees, which is for us, our median here and your fixed location. We've never adjusted them. And the truth is, I'm never going to. We don't even, on the rest of it, we don't even bother to go through the trouble or the expense of that. We're just in a region where, especially because the pump only takes periodic solar power, it's not worth the effort or the expense for us in our location to go to a tilt. And I guess you're way farther north, there would be benefit to it, but just not for us. So
yeah. So you DIY'd it the way that was going to work best for you, which is totally what RPS supports. Like, we want to be able to support whatever level of DIY that you're going to be able to accomplish on your own property. So let's take a look inside. You've got this kind of three-walled well house. You don't have any issues with freezing with this? So
you'll see the moving blanket. What we actually wound up doing is, we threw up a well house real quick, as we bought this property, and it was totally dilapidated. Things were falling down. The house wasn't livable. There's so much to do, and you're trying to work, and actually when we bought this, COVID was going on. So you had all this stuff happening. So we threw up a structure as fast as we could that was good enough to hold solar panels on it, and figured, as a matter of fact, these have been sitting here for 4 years now, because I figured I'd come back and put a door on it. But the truth is, I could see the lights out of my house on my controller, and it's really kind of peace of mind, honestly. You know, as funny as it is, I got teenage kids. It indicates if I wake up in the middle of the night, it's almost one of the first things I do is look out the window and see all the lights are on, because I know if they're up or they're in the shower or something's going on. It's real easy to see. So
let me take a look. Yeah, you can actually see these pretty bright.
I don't actually know that in the end. We'll wind up putting a door on this at some point. I hope it gets to the level that we actually clean it up and make it presentable. But it was already kind of a funky scenario. This had a really small pressure tank on it. Like I said, it had a jet pump on it. And why they sunk the well all the way down into a hole, I have absolutely no idea. But so the actual well head is,
oh, look, it's right there.
all the way down in a hole.
So there's the pressure tank. So how big is this pressure tank?
86 gallon. And that's what is the largest readily available in our area. So when, like I said, we didn't know anything about the well when we started, I knew static water couldn't be higher than 30 feet because they were using a jet pump. And so when we pulled it out, I went ahead and tested it to see how deep it was. To find static water level was like 6 feet. Whole well depth's only 38 feet. I don't know how many gallons per minute it puts out. I don't know what the yield is on it. We've run 6 or 7 people in our home and an entire farm. I've never once hit a low well sensor.
Just off the 800.
Just off the 800. So it's putting out a lot. I know that it's over, 8 or 10 gallons per minute. That's so
cool.
But it's been great.
I know that you are a huge fan of that gray box you've got next to the RPS controller is our 110-volt converter, and you're a really big fan of using those in any installation that you do.
Yep. One of my favorite parts is actually one of the things that kind of drew me to the solar well pump setup from the get-go was above and beyond the solar was the 110 converter in it. And the ability to be able to plug your well pump into any outlet was huge, especially for emergency. And we, as a company, we do a lot of off-grid build. We do a lot of unique stuff. And even on off-grid builds, even something that that we're going to have they're going to have no power whatsoever. 100% of the time, I put the converter in there because it always gives you the ability to grab just the smallest generator, be able to plug the thing in, and you've got water. And it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. And so it's super cheap insurance. And we just got to learn that lesson through Hurricane Helene. For most people in my area, we were out of power for 11 days, and most people couldn't get power to their well pump if they hadn't pre-thought it through. And pre-thought it through meaning I've actually wired a plug into my house so that I have the ability to run everything off of it, because your well pump is hardwired in, and most of them are 220 volts, which now I'm into a massive generator, which created all of its own problems. That quick, you're burning massive amounts of fuel. And again, I can speak from my own. We were consuming 14 gallons of fuel a day to keep lights on and freezers from freezing, because we're in this massive generator that we didn't need to run crucial systems. To complicate things even worse for most people, fuel was hard to get. It was a mess. And we weren't, as far as long-term damage goes here, we weren't destroyed. That was just a few miles up the road. But most of our gas stations had no power, or they were actually running on generator. And the ones that were running on generator, there was no debit card, so now it was cash only.
That's crazy.
Everything was closed. So it was really eye-opening that all of a sudden I have this massive generator that is consuming fuel I can't get.
Your 220-volt generator.
My 220-volt generator. And so and that's the beauty. And again, it's lessons that I feel like been learned from us both personally and as a company as the years have gone on, that being able to neck this down and go, most of the time when we're out in the field and like we're pumping a system out or doing something, I'm not even using a generator. I'm using a little solar battery box. We'll plug them in. I've run it for 4 hours wide open on a little 2,000 watt solar battery box with no issue.
You even have your hand crank here, or your hand pump.
Yep. So just a hydrant.
It's just a hydrant.
Yep, just a hydrant that we put out here. And I mean, you can see water volume is super solid.
Yeah, that turned on immediately.
Turned on immediately, yeah.
No issues with turning on. I mean, you've got your pressure tanks, you've got a little bit of a storage unit in there, and then that just disperses water whenever you need it. Cool. Okay, so let's head over to the other solar pump
head up to
systems.
the next one.
All right, so now we are up at the second well house location, and this is feeding your mother's house.
This is feeding my mom's house.
Awesome.
So this one is a well that we had drilled. It's a fairly low yield well. It's only about 2 gallons per minute. Static water level on this one's about 40 feet. I think the well's about 300 feet deep. This is one of the things that is a little contrary to what I think a lot of people's belief is on wells. They would say, well, 2 gallons per minute is not enough to run a house, and I beg to differ. Like I said, the RPS, we have the security of knowing we've got a low well sensor, which is not on a standard one. So if it ever ran too low, it would shut off, and then it automatically turns back on. And we'll show you, we've got one well that's literally how we operate it. We just let it hit a low well sensor and turn back on for water and livestock. You've got basically 1.5 gallons of water per foot of well pipe. You've got a massive storage there. And so I think we set her well pump at about 150 feet below surface. So we're about 115, 120 feet below static water level. So we did opt to go a little deeper than sometimes we do on these because it was a low yield well.
Cool, let's walk around to, it seems like you've got a similar roof situation going on. I see a trend happening.
So, and I will say, this is essentially standard for what we do for clients now. You see we've actually lowered the roof on this. So it is accessible. You could clean them from the bottom if you wanted. But again, it's up, it's out of the way, it's in one location. And for anybody that's on a homestead that's spent any time there, always knows storage is key for everything. And so it becomes a little bit of a garden shed too for stuff. So
and when you say clients, because you're helping to install solar pump systems, RPS solar pump systems for other people in the area.
Correct. So this is a standard for us when we build now. So if we're gonna build, we're automatic that I'm putting in a solar well system for you. You know, and so we do some wells just for people that want to swap them out, or sometimes we'll do a dual setup, which we've talked about. But yes, so any build that we do, it's just an automatic. We put you on a solar well system, and for us, almost all of them are identical. We'll change some things. People want different siding. People want it to aesthetically look a little different. But this is generally for us what we do.
It's really cool, the build quality too. If you get these like under eaves, and it just looks nice. Yeah, it looks like a cute little shed in the forest. Well, cool. Let's head inside and take a look. Oh, it's not even a door.
It's not a door. So, ironically, we took the door off for farm days.
Which is when you bring people to your farm
we bring people
and
out
show
here
them the solar pumps.
Yeah, we let them see solar pumps, and we let them do, they get to see our cabin samples and barn samples and other stuff.
Yeah, that we're going to take a look at like right after this.
Yeah, and so we decided ultimately that she's not sure she wants the door back on. So, but as we got real cold here in winter,
there we go, a little bit more light.
We had to put something over it, so she just tacked a blanket up real quick. Well, welcome to resourceful grandmas.
So that's what this heat lamp is. It's just to keep the exposed pipe that's like emanating from the pressure tank over to right where you buried into the ground. That's what's keeping it just a little bit warmer than usual. And
we don't get hard freeze here. We're a pretty mild climate, but we get just enough. At different locations, mine has little to no problems. Hers is a little trickier on that and seemed like it wanted to freeze up more often. So one of the cool parts about, because it's all poly pipe, all we do is let it warm up and it kicks back on. I think I've taken a torch to this one once or twice, but no problems there. So exact same setup that's on my house. We're running switcher inverter, control box, and 86-gallon pressure tank.
Yeah, so this is saying tank full right now because the pressure tank is full, because that's being controlled by your reverse action pressure switch down here, which is just getting wired into your control box. And so she's not using water right now.
If she is using water, she's got that 20 to 25 gallons before this system will ever even turn back on.
Yeah.
So, and just to point out for people, if you're troubleshooting a system and you're dealing with one, get a gauge that goes onto a faucet and check it. So I know we talked about this a little bit before. This gauge is new. I changed that gauge out probably 2 or 3 weeks ago.
So this is at 140 PSI.
What I can promise is there's not 140 PSI in the system. This is set at 50.
Yeah.
I had set it at 60, and my mom said that her shower was a sandblaster, not a shower, so we wound up turning it down for her. But the gauges are notoriously, doesn't matter what brand, they all only seem to work for a very short period of time.
You've been able to pinpoint exactly what is wrong with these gauges. It seems across all systems.
Yes. You're always embarrassed when you come back and look at some of your own work. I would never leave a rat's nest like this at a client's. When you're in a hurry working around here, apparently I did. It's functional.
It's functional. It's been working. How long has this one been installed?
This one's probably 3 years old. Actually, 2 to 3 years is what this one has been in. It's been good. We learned a few lessons on hers. Pressure tank settings. So typically on an AC well pump, you're just going to set your pressure tank 2 pounds below what your pressure switch is. I will tell you, because this is a soft start system, that's not enough of a pressure differential. So what would happen is the pressure or the pump would kick on, and as it's beginning to ramp up, if you're still drawing down, it would hit below that mark. And for a pressure tank, once you get below its pressure setting, it goes from 30 pounds to 0 right now. And so you would have that probably a 10 or 15 second momentary where you went to 0 pressure, and then the pump would rev up. And it's a super easy problem to overcome. We typically set these now about 5 to 6 pounds below what our pressure tank is, understanding that a soft start pump, which has huge advantages, just takes a minute to wind itself up as it goes. And so we just adjust these a little bit different.
Problem solved. That's a great tip.
Yeah,
Awesome tip.
we know to do that on all of them now. It was unique because this was the first one that we had actually do it to us. We all had complaints with pressure dropping fairly substantially, but her static is a little bit lower, so I think it just took a little bit longer to begin to build. But that has solved it for us and clients.
Awesome.
So we'll head to my mother-in-law's next if we want to see another setup.
Yeah, let's go there.
Where this one's a little unique, we actually don't have solar panels hooked to it.
Whoa.
So we've been running 3 years with no solar panels.
Just the 72 volt converter.
Just the 72 volt converter.
The 110 to 72 volt converter.
Yes. This was actually our second RPS setup. Hindsight, some things we would have done different. The roof is sloping north faced.
That is, yeah. All the other roofs are pointing that way.
Yeah, which is due south.
Which is due south, and this.
So, in some respects, it made sense when we were throwing a quick well house together, because we wanted the door on the front,
sure.
And we were going to just do a ground mount up there with solar panels, and that might happen at some point. But honestly, at 3 years deep, we may just leave it. You'll find when you're doing 4 houses in 4 years, priority list looks a little different. Priorities get water. The luxury of having solar panels aiding in that water, that goes pretty far down on a list of
this
stuff.
Is what like an RPS 800 would be, just without solar panels.
This is an RPS 800 without solar panels. So exact same setup in here.
There's your controller, your converter, and this is like a slightly earlier version, I think, of the converter. Just because it's got this sticker on it.
Yep.
It usually doesn't have the sticker, but the insides look the same. And there you go. There's your date, so you know when you installed it. There's your 110 volt plug that the converter is plugged into. You've got solar panel
We've got
boxes.
solar panels.
So the solar panels are in here.
We've got the racking system, the standard racking system.
You're all
there.
set
Yeah.
at some point to install the solar panels,
Yep.
but with this converter, you can like rest easy. Yeah.
We don't ever have to worry about it.
That's great. There's your heater.
Yep.
Your
so
little
same.
chicken heater. And then could we pull
Yeah,
off the cover and just see what
So
the well
again,
looks
we're
like
so
underneath?
mild. What we have found. Oh, God. Somebody's in here.
Oh, there's been some rats.
Yeah. Somebody's chewing on that. For us, what we have found is, again, she didn't even plug a heat lamp in this year.
Yeah.
Just that little bit, she threw a little piece of insulation up around it, and just that little bit, it was enough that nothing froze here.
And all these look like they're 6-inch wells.
All of them are 6-inch wells.
Yeah.
The next one won't be. The next one will be a 4-inch. But yeah, so
That's awesome.
it's been.
And it looks like you're like that additional. We didn't really cover this before, but you're just getting. This isn't even heat tape.
No,
This
it's
is-
just pipe wrap. And again, we're a mild climate, so that's just enough to keep it from freezing. So pretty common or pretty standard for us. We'll always just do a pipe wrap on them.
It's just your normal like little styrofoamy kind of.
Yeah, just buy it at Home Depot.
Nice. Yeah, you do such a good job at utilizing stuff that you can find locally in South Carolina. If you don't have the parts or it's not the stuff that you're seeing like necessarily in magazines, you know, you always hear about like you got to get the best heat tape and install it. It's like, nah, you're figuring it out.
Yeah, and we have found with a lot of that stuff, it's people are overcomplicating what can be simple. There's a reason why in South Carolina this is the pipe wrap that they sell in our Home Depot, because it's sufficient for our area. So use what, you know, if it wasn't sufficient for our area, they'd have a much thicker one. And so use what's available here, and it should be good. And again, different circumstances, you take a little bit of a different measure in it, but for the most part, it's not a problem.
Not a big deal. Great.
So this one is that's a steer, and that is a Jersey A2 crossed with a Red Angus, ultimately bound for a dinner plate. And this one is a registered A2 cow, and so she's right about a year old, and so we'll breed her back here in the next few months.
Perfect. This is her water that she's getting from the
Yep.
RPS 200.
This is an RPS 200.
That's right over here. So it's feeding this hydrant and then over to a hose, and then that just fills up your tanks.
And we're getting to the time of year right now where we'll go ahead and hook it back up to the automatic system and just let it fill automatically. We just, during hard freezes, we have to disconnect them. It does freeze. And that's, for people that don't know, these hydrants, they're antifreeze hydrants. So it's actually, you know, the hose is a couple feet in the ground. Depending on what your frost level is, they get buried deeper, and it actually drains this whole thing out so that there's no water that's above the frost line when they're turned off, so they won't freeze on you. One little thing a lot of people don't know, quick tip, if you throw this hose into the water, when you turn it off, because it actually drains this out below ground, you'll actually siphon all the water straight back out of your water trough and empty your water trough just as fast as you filled it. On a note from a well perspective, and we're gonna look at this one, which is hand dug, we dug it. Livestock require a much lower yield well than houses do. We're able, unlike with a house where, you know, we've got mass consumption in a short period of time because we're taking showers, dishwashers, all this stuff that runs, and we really need a little bit higher yield, or we look for a higher yield. Livestock troughs, when they go onto an automatic waterer, I don't care. It can run all day long and put out a half a gallon a minute. I don't care, because it will consistently put it out, and we never have that spot where we really need that high yield. And so it's a great opportunity to have a shallower well, to have, you know, depending on what region you're in for us, and a much lower yield well. I just don't need that pickup of volume. So for us, this well we're going to get into, we literally hand dug it. I'm trying to remember the company we bought the hand drill from. And encased it. It's a 4-inch casing going down.
Yeah, let's walk over that.
Yeah, yield on this well it's 28 feet deep. 28 feet. We hit a rock that we couldn't get beyond, and so this was, if I'm being honest, this was a science experiment as much as anything. And
Oh, wow. I mean, I can see like a big rock right here.
Yeah. And
it's
so
pretty hard ground that you drilled through.
It's pretty hard ground. In the drill setup that we did, and I'll show it to you, it's impressive. It's a lot of manual labor. And so we cased the whole thing all the way down, and we actually put a silt sock up over and you cut a bunch of slits in it so water can go in. So this is not into granite like a standard house well would be. Started out really, really muddy. We pumped it for a few days after shocking the well real good. After a few days, the water started to clear up, but it just had a glistening in the sun that you would see of like the really, really fine particles. Now we're 2-3 years deep now on this setup. The water is crystal clear. When I measure, we get 28 gallons of water out of it, and it'll hit the low well sensor. It'll shut off, it's pumped out. You wait 5 minutes, you got another 28 gallons of water out of it. So we calced out yields fairly low, but again, this is livestock. I don't care, super cool. It's got a low well sensor on it. It turns itself back on. I don't have to do anything. We just go. We did put a pressure tank on it. Tiny pressure tank. The truth is that was a pressure tank that we took off somebody's house, and so I had it. It was free. We decided sometimes when we're rinsing off horses and stuff at night, it was nice to have a gallon or two just to be able to hit them real quick. But if the truth is, this isn't needed out here.
It's like 15 gallons, something like that.
Something
20,
like that.
Probably like a 20 gallon.
You get about 1.5 to 2 gallons of water out of it before the pump has to turn on. It's a fairly insignificant amount. One of the big things I will say that I've noticed between, and we'll probably put bigger solar panels up on this, between the 200 and 400, is that the pressure build on the 200 under just solar, so there's no power out here, this is 100% solar, is significantly less than the 800. Which, again, livestock waters, I don't need high pressure. This was a science experiment. We've messed with it all over the place. I don't care if this thing runs at 10 PSI all day, every day. It's totally fine.
Yeah, and the 200, it'll make it easy. You won't have to swap out your pump because the pump that is in there can stay in there. And then you just add some more solar panels on because the RPS 200 and 400 is the exact same submersible well pump.
Yes.
So you can go from 24 volt to 48 volt, and suddenly you've got a whole different setup with more pressure and more water, but it's from the same pump.
And our big thing on it is days like today where we're real low light. If this pressure gauge actually worked, because I can tell you we do not have 50 pounds of pressure, and I think it's set at 20. Under low light conditions like this, with just the 200, it struggles more than I would like to see. It needs a little bit more panel up there. But once again, I will tell you, for watering, I mean, we're watering probably 60 animals.
Yeah,
some cows, some horses,
a significant amount.
And it's not a challenge keeping up on any of that. Plus dogs, and plus we use it for horses and cats and other. Matter of fact, there's a cat there I didn't even see.
Hi, bud.
On a total side note, not involving this, one of the things that that we show people a lot of times when you're out, so again, we built this as a well house / shed. Lights are super critical. The easiest thing you can do, this is Amazon. They're like $20. It's a security light with an exterior panel. We mount the panel outside. At night, you walk in here, you don't need a switch. It turns on, lights the thing like daylight, stays on for 5 minutes at a time. It turns on and off, super, super easy. This kind of stuff has come a long ways in the last few years. Super easy to get lights if you're dealing with something that's totally off-grid, way away.
And you don't have a 110 volt to 72 volt converter on here.
I do not, and I'm probably going to wind up adding one. It was a mistake not. We have run into some circumstances where we have gone a prolonged period where we've had to bucket some water over here, and I didn't have any other option on it. So I'll probably wind up mounting a converter up here. The batteries at this point are probably not good anymore. We used to run battery, and again, that's only 24 volt, which matched what we have for panels. We had more problems with battery function and keeping all of this running correctly. So then, of course, the kids would come out here. So like if the waterers tried to run at night, something drew down, the batteries would be totally dead. So now kids come out here to do things in the morning and to do chores. Well, the whole system won't work because those solar panels are now charging batteries and it's not directly running the system. So then they switch the switch over so it's solar, so they bypass the batteries so that they can do what they need to do out here. They never come back and switch it back to battery, and then so we wound up in that constant fight of it, and before coming to finally the realization or the conclusion, it's just not needed for out here. And like I said, for our actual off-grid homes that we do, we're already doing a solar system for a house. We don't do the batteries in here. So water at night, just not important for us in this environment.
And it was too many cooks in the kitchen too. You had too many people coming in and out of here, operating the system differently. Yeah, and for some people, if it's a single person operating the system, it's like that might work a little bit better than if you have a bunch of employees or kids who forget to turn it back to the right setting.
And for me, my own frustration in the whole thing is because all I do is get the phone call that says the well system doesn't work up there, and now it's something for me to go work on. As you guys have seen, we've got plenty to work on around here, and it just really, again, for us, once we came to the conclusion of really thinking this through and going, okay, the battery isn't a necessary thing at all for livestock. Don't worry about it. Like I said, I will probably come back and add an inverter so that if we do get to a place where we have prolonged periods, I can go ahead and get water easily at night, or on low conditions like today.
I noticed something too that we've seen across all the systems, that you're using poly pipe instead of hard PVC or harder inline. You're using a lot of poly or flexible PEX for your installations, from the pressure tank, from the well. Yeah.
I'm not a hard pipe fan, and there's a handful of reasons why. Number one, it gets way more complicated in putting it in. When you have to get all the angles to line up and you've got to run everything around. There is some flow reduction when you get into 90 degrees. So now I'm running all of this, and so I'm hurting my cause on it. It took more time. I'm not helping the process, I'm hurting the process. But then the whole other side of this stuff, if it freezes, if this pipe freezes, and this one has frozen several times. We don't have anything on it. There's no heat lamp out here. It just is what it is. We either just let it warm up a little bit. Like I said, we don't do hard freeze for any long period of time, or I'll just run out here with a torch and just warm the pipes just a little bit. No harm, no foul.
You can't do that with PVC.
You can't do that with PVC. You can't do that with any kind of hardline pipe. It's now I'm repairing pipe. So for me, it's 100% going down into the well, same thing. The biggest deal going down into the well is that you can't pull the well pump inside a well house. And if you're hardline piped on your actual pipe going down, not only can I not pull it up out of here without cutting it into pieces, when we pull them, I got to use equipment to do it. That column of water, when you're pulling hard pipe, gets real heavy real quick, versus soft line, which I'm able to lay over and we're able to pull them very, very quickly. So I am standard on all well pumps, whether it's solar or AC. 100% of the time, it's back to polyline.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So,
and that's what we did at your friend Joe's the other day.
Yeah.
We're gonna have another video about that. And it worked out really well, using some above ground PEX for above ground, and then the poly pipe for installation. Yeah,
and like his, the reality is I would have used poly for everything that was there, but they had already used PEX to tie into a lot of it. So we worked with what was there. But you'll see in that video, PEX offered the same benefit as the poly pipe does. So
work with what you got.
Work with what you got.
Can we go out and see some of the other hose bibs in action?
Yeah. Let's see what we got here.
All right, so you got another hydrant out here.
Yeah, so we, it's one of the things that I'm super, super big about. If you look, like we have permanent fencing for our paddocks. A lot of people that get into the homesteading side, and nobody might care on your guys' stuff, but they make the mistake of trying to use temporary fencing. And I just tell you, if you had 1,000 acres and you're moving your animals twice a day, and you have time to move fences twice a day, because that's what you do for a living, man, temporary fencing is great. If you're like the rest of us that look at what is left from a flood and from winter, they have eaten everything they can in these paddocks. And obviously we're feeding hay. If there is grass here and not there, they will go through temporary fencing like it did not exist. And then the amount of time that is consumed with having to move the temporary fencing constantly, it is a lot. And every once in a while we'll use it to just isolate an area, but if you don't move them fast enough, it's gone. They'll blow right through it. And once they figure out they can blow right through it, they don't stop blowing right through it.
Yeah.
They just go wherever they want. So I'm a huge fan of, it is more expensive to put up full paddocks. As soon as grass starts coming in and we're off of hay, we'll go back to full rotation on everything. I've got to open a gate and they go in. We run water to every paddock. It's all on automatic waters. They're always full. All I have to do is open a gate, they're moved, chores are done. And so, and that's a big part of, you know, so much energy goes into homesteading and animal care and all of this, and figuring out if I spend a little bit more now, I got a ton of time back later. Here we go. So they rehooked up the automatic water here. This is a perfect example of, it will do this all day long, cycling through them.
Between each tank.
Yeah.
When it needs it.
When it needs it.
What kind of automatic water is this?
Just a Tractor Supply, $30, bolt them onto the side.
Nice.
If anybody has suggestions of higher quality ones, I'm totally open, but
I think if it works, it works.
they've worked. Super simple system. This one, they probably drank it down over the last 2 days. We're done with hard freezes, so we're starting to hook the waters up again.
And so this is just open all the time?
Yeah, and now that we're done freezing, they'll all get hooked up and we just leave them all open.
That's great. Oh, this is awesome to see in action.
So
and that's all from the RPS 200 that's over there.
That's
and
all.
I can see the green light.
Yeah, you see the green light.
Distance.
And believe it or not, from my driveway, you can actually see the green light through there. So I can see what's going on with our well.
I see it just there if I zoom in enough. Yeah, cool.
And so again, this is one of those, I've actually got the door for that. I'm not gonna put it on. There's just there's no benefit for it other than, you know, somewhere in my brain says it's not finished.
No, I think it works. If it works, it works. That seems to be the theme.
Like I said, the convenience of being able to look out and know all the way from the house whether we had a problem with the well or where it's at.
Yeah, see you later. We just went about a quarter of a mile into the forest past your main homestead, and now we are at one of your southern homestead's cabin builds.
Yes. So this is one of our flagship products. We actually offer this as a do-it-yourself, and spend a ton of time and energy making it where we genuinely want people to be able to build their own home, and we find more and more people with that desire that are looking to shrink square footage, to simplify life, and really want to be able to afford something. And so this was kind of our brainchild, and for us, both quality and cool was super high on the level for us. So it had to be something that we were proud of. And so we actually do installs on the exterior of these, a completed shell. We sell them as a total do-it-yourself, depending on what people want. But come inside. I think you'll find what you normally see from a tiny home. This is a little different.
The porch already, you have so much room, and the door being like a full-sized residential door is such a nice detail that I already see here.
That's for us, windows and doors are super important, and we're in a very mild climate. So utilizing outside space is a huge thing. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of people, they'll find, especially in our area, property taxes are different on porches than they are in a home. And I know it sounds dumb, but as we're trying to remove what our monthly expenses are, when we can begin to utilize spaces like this versus having it as part of the inside of the house, it really starts to add up in the end.
Mm-hmm. So this is the cabin that you're saying we're thinking of in the future putting another RPS solar pump on, or you add RPS solar pumps on to these regularly so that people can have their full-size sink, they can have their full-size bathroom. Oh wow, look at this bathroom back here. Huge bathroom with shower, sink, and toilet.
That's one of the things that you know, being in construction and doing a lot of this, you learn real quick what spaces are important and what aren't. When you step in, what you didn't feel, was the floor moving at all. We beam support the floor so that there's no movement in it. So every step you're in, it's solid, which again, you don't realize how much that changes the way you view something, but feels very different. When you walk in, you're a 14-foot, 4-inch ceiling in the center here. So now, while we're a little bit smaller space, it feels very large. Small things like that we really spend a lot of time and energy figuring out, okay, where do you need, where do you don't?
Because this floor plan is how many square feet?
So we are just over 400 square feet of the bottom story, plus lofts, plus porches. So it really puts us, I think, around 750 square feet under roof of usable. From a building perspective, from a building department perspective, we're right about 400 square feet.
Great. I want to take a look at the bedroom. Because you could drop one of these small cabins and you could drop a well and then you're basically done.
We're there.
Because I see solar out the window.
So this is 100% off grid. We are on septic system here, and contrary to popular belief, like I said, we build off grid. This is what we do. I am not a compost toilet guy. I'm not a fan. There are certain things that in creature comforts that we find most people really, really want, including myself, and that is a standard toilet is one of them. Standard showers are another thing. So if you notice, we're a little bit smaller bedroom. This is not a space that people spend a ton of time in. They sleep in these, including us. So we give enough space where you don't feel totally cramped, but let's not give a bunch of square footage that we have to maintain, both from a heating and cooling perspective to areas that we're not going to spend much time in. So we make it big enough where it feels cozy, it feels comfortable, but not a huge waste in space.
If you're going to be off grid, you got to be a little bit more efficient.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then you've got extra storage over here, and then this could be like, if you're really in a freeze area, this could even be like a well room. That you could put you have a pressure tank in here, I bet, for storage. Or no, this is actually operating for the house.
This is actually functional for our house. So for most people, this becomes a laundry room. And for us, because this is a periodic use and we're not living in it, I don't need laundry out here. And so we went ahead and put all our utilities in here instead of building an exterior space. Most of the time with solar equipment, this would not be where I would necessarily advise to put it, but again, for our circumstances, it works great. Again, improvising what you can get. We're on a tank. We're actually, it's potable water coming from our home. We drag it in with a tractor at this moment. And we're just using an Amazon $20 pump to pump it in. The pressure tank, again, this is something we took off of a client's house when we replaced it for one that was adequate in size. For this little structure, it's fine. And again, the price was right.
Yeah, so you've got your RPS 800 filling tanks. You're bringing those tanks over. You're just pumping it into the pressure tank, and then you're all set. And
so ultimately, what we will wind up doing is, again, probably run an RPS 400. We're going to hand drill a well out here. We'll run to a tank. On a hand drilled well, my assumption is the yield's not going to be high enough that it would be comfortable for us to be running directly from well to house. So we're going to want some storage there. So, but that's the plan.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is great. Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah, so there's the tank.
So there's a tank just sitting there. Like I said, we just grabbed with the tractor and it's hooked into the house.
That's perfect. If anyone's interested in this cabin setup, and then you do some customizations too, you do other custom layouts.
Yes.
Yeah, contact Jared at Southern Homesteads. He's great, and he's so knowledgeable about, instead of just the cabin, you know about the water, you know about cabin, you know about power, which is, I think, like a really rare combination of knowledge to have in one person. So it would be very cool if you were interested in that.
And that's what we do, guys. We do from infrastructure at Homesteads to literally the fencing, we do custom builds here in our local area, but the full solar setups. We will take it from ground up, or we'll start somewhere in the middle.
All right, Jared, it's been awesome visiting your homestead. Thank you so much for inviting RPS Solar out to your property, and hopefully we will see you again soon.
I look forward to it. Thanks for coming out, guys.